Hi guys, welcome back. This is Sam for SAP Careers and Job Seekers Group. Today we're going to talk about behavioral interviews. So whenever you are ready for your job, you'll basically face two kind of interviews. One is the behavioral side, which basically talks about, your cultural fit into the organization. Another is the technical side, and the technical side really talks about the core technology behind, so like transaction codes, programs, table and field names, and also intricacies of integration, drop downs, so on and so forth. So today, the focus is going to be more on the behavioral side. So the behavioral interviews are called the STARK interviews, the STARK. So STARK stands for situation, task, action, results, and conclusion. So situation is S, task is T, A is for the action you take in order to resolve the problem or the issue. R is the result. So how did you solve it? And C is the conclusion of how the client perceived it once you were able to solve that issue. So these behavioral interviews form typically the initial phase of your interview for the hiring manager. So in a lot of cases, the hiring manager might ask you one or two questions, but before the hiring manager interviews you, it'll be the HR or the recruitment team which will ask you typically all the behavioral questions. The objective of the behavioral question is twofold. One is to validate your experience and the truthfulness behind your resume that you have written. And second is, are you a cultural fit for the organization? So today, I'm going to talk about some questions that are typically thrown out for interviews. So the first question obviously would be, tell me about yourself. And as I said in the last interview, which was the technical side, this is a typical question asked, and you have to be prepared to answer it in four different modes or the four part answers. The first is your specialization and your overall experience. The second is narrowed out experience in your core area plus the extensibility of that core area. So we have financial and controlling or sales and distribution or materials management. In financial controlling, you have to say account receivable, account payables, banking, asset accounting, product costing, activity-based costing, COPA, which is profitability analysis, and maybe extend this to the industry solutions. For example, FICA, which is contract accounting, or you can also say PSCD or FSCD, which is collection and disbursement for public sector, or you could also go with solutions like oil and gas, which is joint venture accounting or production revenue accounting, JV or a PRA, or pharmaceutical, which focuses on FDA compliance, food and drug administration compliance. So depending on the area, you could elaborate the extensibility and integration and industry solutions of that particular thing. The third answer would be more about how many project life cycles you have done in that period, whatever your work. For example, I have got 10 years of experience in financials, out of which four and a half years or over 4 years has been in financial and controlling area with account receivable, account payable, asset accounting, product costing, activity-based costing, COPA, and then FICA, which is contract accounting and more focused towards convergent invoicing. So that would be an example of it. And then followed by the name of the client. So you could say the reputed clients, such as our own company, Sapsol Technologies, or you could say your clients which are known in the industry, example, Novartis or Bombardier or Magna, or you could also take other banking or industry specific solutions. So CN Rail, for example, is a railway, Boeing is an airline, and maybe you want to also look at retail organizations such as Walmart or Amazon, and that those known names obviously helps. So that would be your four-part answer to tell me about yourself. The second question is about the STARK interview, which is situation, task, action, result, and conclusion. And the STARK interview, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say, tell me about a time when you had a conflict with somebody in the project, whether it is business or your project colleague, and how did you go and resolve this? So that's the situation given to you. The task is you have to go out and resolve this issue, and the actions you take for this resolution would be, I'll try and talk to the person one-on-one and tell him that I'm only here for a duration of the project, which is typically 6 months, 9 months, and then you would move into the operation mode or move out of the project. And the objective of your being in the project is to help the client and the team succeed, and there's nothing personal between you, both of you. So you try and go one-on-one, and if that doesn't work out, you'd involve a third-party colleague who's a common friend of between you and that person. And last but not the least, you'll have to escalate and move on and keep your seniors into confidence. So that's the action you have taken. The result is the person understood and you are amicably able to resolve those issues either with direct on one-on-one conversation or by intermediating from another colleague or the manager. And the conclusion of this, which is, and I say STARC because conclusion is you have to close and give yourself the credit for having done that action and say that the result, my management appreciated what I did, and I was extended onto the project for another duration as a result of my behavioral conflict resolution approach. Right? So that would be another example of STARC. There could be also questions in STARC like, tell me about a situation when you faced a lot of pressure because one of your colleagues left, right? So if one of your colleagues left just before the go live, so that's the situation presented to you. And what the task is to go out and resolve that area because you do not have another module. For example, if in financial and controlling, you don't have the controlling guy or maybe the business analytics person or BW person there. So your answer would be, I am a pretty creative person. I always study newer areas and keep myself updated on the technology. So I made extra efforts to understand the gaps in the area that the person had left with. And I was able to come up with a resolution to resolve that issue through my extra work and dedication to that technology. So I learned analytics. I was able to resolve those with the help of my friends and colleagues. And that the training I did on my own was my own initiative, and my management appreciated that I was able to handle that go live issue from the analytics standpoint, not just FICO. And as a result, now I am competent in not just financial and controlling area, but also in the business analytics, or now we call it, data sphere or business warehouse area. As a result, now my management sent a recommendation to me to manage support in both the financial and controlling as well as business analytics or business warehouse area. So that's like the conclusion piece of it. So hope these questions give you an insight into how you can kind of help resolve the STARC and C, situation, task, action, result, and conclusion areas. In addition to these STARC questions, you might be asked, why do you think you are a good fit for this position? So the best answer would be, I have been working with similar organizations such as yours in the same industry verticals, having same area or problem area that you are addressing, and I have been successfully resolving their issues, which is a replica of what you have, right? And as a result, I have successfully worked in organizations similar to yours in terms of size, in terms of industry focus, for example, pharmaceuticals, and I understand the intricacies involved in the process areas and the domain area that are specific to your organization. So that would be another question and answer, which is a STARC question and answer. And last but not the least, you'll be asked, what is your salary expectation? So in these kind of situations, when you are asked salary expectations, it's best to negotiate now, because by negotiating now, you are able to save 3 to 5 years of your incremental time, and you do not have to leave the organization and come back at a higher pitch or change the organization in terms of getting a higher bump up in your salary. So the answer for what is your salary expectation, you know from your study, and I have mentioned this to a lot of consultants, that they should go out and study either Glassdoor or LinkedIn in terms of what are the jobs out there, what are the open positions, and how many people are applying, and what is the salary that they have kind of put up there. And also check Glassdoor, where people just mention the salaries there. And your answer would be, I'm currently at X or YZ salary, which is, let's say, $50 to $70 an hour, or maybe $7,000 to $8,000 per month, or $80,000 to $90,000. I have interviewed for the positions which have been giving me a salary range of $100,000 to $140,000. Having said that, I'm open to negotiation and I'm open to discussing salary more in detail. However, having said that, I would expect an industry standard salary, which is, I have been talking between $100,000 to $140,000, so that I'm able to focus on the work and not get diverted by other interviews and by other calls that are there in the market. And I would like to stay dedicated to the organization. So that would be another answer that you can call it a stark answer. The last but not the least is travel and commute. How comfortable are you traveling and commute? So most people might say after COVID, hey, I'm looking for a 100% remote role. Now that can change once the management has confidence in you. So your answer should be, well, most of my previous roles have been remote or hybrid. However, I'm open to coming on site and working with you guys and see how that goes, so that then we can decide on the best approach. If it's on site, I'll be happy to work on site. But if I can do the same job without the quality of my work suffering, then I would prefer that we work that out based on the comfort level of your management. So guys, those are the 5 sample examples for interviews in the behavioral side that I'm giving you. And this would help you sail through, which is that the first 40% of your behavioral interview, and get to the next level, which is the technical interview. And my last video, I talked about the technical interview side. So go and check out the last video, which talks about 5 areas of success, and we talk more technical. I'll create another video which just is technical side, and this could be module specific. We will create different ones for financials, different for sales, different for materials management, different for human resources, project systems, right? Production planning, quality assurance. And that would help you focus on that narrowed out area which your core competence belongs to. But hope you liked this thought of mine in terms of the situational interviews, which are called behavioral interviews. They're extremely, extremely important. The best way to build confidence is to rehearse them over and over again through behavioral questions. I do not mind sharing the top 60 behavioral question typically asked, but a lot of times the behavioral questions also have what we call the techno-functional question. That means there's a technical flip to it. So this is the behavioral interview video. So I'll create another one called techno-functional interviews. The techno-functional interviews are common for behavioral and technical. They're kind of a pseudo. They're right in the middle, right? And we'll talk about this in another video. So hope you like the content of this video, guys. If you do like it, please do like and subscribe to this channel. Give it a thumbs up so we can inform you when my next release comes. And we look forward to speak to you again. And this is Sam signing off for SAP Careers and Job Seekers Group. Thank you, guys.